on insulin resistance. And even though my videos are about weight loss and about insulin resistance is what I'm really talking about. And insulin resistance is what has happened to your body over time, over a long period of time, where you've been eating too many carbs on a regular basis. So you're starting your day with breakfast, it's got carbs in it. You have a tea break, it's got carbs in it. And they may seem innocuous. You may feel like you're very healthy. You're having porridge for breakfast, overnight oats, all the fads. You're having fruit. Oh my God, I'm so healthy. I'm eating fruit. You're eating yogurt and fruit at your tea break. You're not having maybe a scone, and you think that's healthier. In actual fact, your body treats sugar and white flour and fruit the same way. It doesn't know the difference. The only difference with fruit is there's fiber in it, which is a good thing, but the human body is not designed to eat fruit all the time. So what is insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is where over time your cells have been damaged because you've been eating carbs all the time, and the human body is not designed to be eating carbs all the time. So your cells are now not responding to insulin in the way that they should be doing. Maybe not all the cells, but a lot of the cells. So your cells are saying, no, the insulin, because insulin, what happens when you eat is that you have a glucose spike. But with carbs, you have a very high glucose spike, which is really too high. And over time, this is exhaust your cells. So your insulin is not able to work properly, which is why people get type 2 diabetes, let's face it. So insulin, every time you eat, insulin is released to a certain degree. If you eat fat, then no, it's not released. But if you eat protein, it's released on a little low level, which is why your blood sugar level stays stable. So you might have a little release of insulin, which is perfectly fine, up to kind of 30 millimoles. So then with carbs, you get this big spike. Even with one biscuit, as I say to my lads, eat the whole pack. If you're going to eat the biscuits, eat the whole pack, because you may as well in one sitting. It's worse to have 17 biscuits over 17 different hours than it is to have 17 biscuits in one sitting, and I'll tell you why. So your insulin, your blood sugar, this is what happens first. You eat your carbs, your blood sugar goes off the charts, and then the next thing, insulin is released. So when your blood sugar goes up, that tells the body to release insulin. So insulin's job, insulin is a very important hormone. Insulin's job is to take the blood glucose around your body and to knock on each cell door and say, do you need some energy? That's what glucose is in the blood, energy for the cells, so that we can function, so that we can move around. And the cells say yes or no. So insulin moves on. So when insulin has done its job and it's gone all around the body, then the next thing, it has maybe too much glucose. And if you eat carbs, there is always too much glucose. Well, almost always, unless you're starving beforehand. So you're taking in your carbs, your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up. That's fine now and again. That's fine now and again. I go to the pub, I have a blowout, I go for a meal, I have a blowout, and I have an insulin, I have a blood sugar spike and an insulin spike. But what's happening is we're doing it chronically. It's every day, 5 times a day, 6 times a day, 7 times a day. It's not once. It's not once a day. It's all day. And we don't realize it. I didn't realize it myself. We don't realize it because we're constantly in that high. That's why sometimes we're desperately hungry and hangry, and you see these people having road rage. I would tell you every one of them is insulin resistant. So how does insulin resistance occur? So this is happening over time. So you have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So this is happening over time. And next thing, the cells are exhausted. They can't cope with insulin. So what happens at the end is insulin, it takes around the extra glucose and it puts it in the adipose tissue, which is the fat cells. The first fat cell it stores it in is the liver, which is why we're seeing a huge rise in non-alcoholic fatty liver. So fatty liver is present in a lot more people than it used to be. It used to be known as the alcoholic's disease because the only people that were ever seen with fatty liver were the alcoholics. Now it's seen as children as young as 3, probably because the 1-year-olds and the 2-year-olds aren't being brought in. And I think back on my own kids that I was giving them bottled milk, which is fine in the short term, but we're all getting a bit carb addicted. And we're used to the high. You know, when you eat a carb, I have a carb meal, and you get this kind of high, or if you eat dessert. I love it. I love it. Of course I love it. I mean, we are designed to want that high. We are designed because that is what made us survive. That is our survival mechanism. That's why humans are so incredible. We are designed to want that high. So don't give out to yourself. Don't be angry about it. We are designed to want that high. The problem is we're keeping the injection going. We're keeping the high going all the time. So you need to get off the high. That's why you need to stop insulin resistance. So your cells are getting damaged because human cells are not designed to be meeting insulin all day. We're not designed to have insulin knocking on our door all day. We're designed to have insulin come sometimes for the glucose or at a low level, but not at this very high level. So you've got your pancreas is chucking out your pancreas is where your insulin is made and released. And your pancreas is knackered from trying to send out the insulin because it has to produce it at such a high rate. The pancreas is very near the liver. So you are now are having this pressure on these. Now, my issue with fruit. Fruit releases a big insulin spike. Why? Because it's mainly fructose. And this is why a lot of the keto people will say you can have berries. You can have berries once you're insulin sensitive, and you can have them sometimes. I wouldn't be eating them every day. So berries have less fructose and a lot more fiber. And of course, they're much smaller, you know. So if you eat an apple, fruit is amazing for you. It's very good. You should eat fruit, but not every day. You should eat fruit sometimes and keep the fiber in it. Don't juice it. Do not have juice. So you are eating fruit. You think you're healthy. I thought I was healthy when I was eating fruit all the time. You're not. That is not good for your body. What you need to do is keep your blood sugar stable, which is what I do. I eat eggs, cheese, broccoli. I have a TikTok of my meal yesterday, which was a big frying pan full of mushrooms, a red onion, a full red onion, garlic, chopped ginger, just chopped actual ginger, broccoli, like that much broccoli. And I was too lazy to grate the cheese, so I literally chopped the cheese into big slabs and put it on top, and mushrooms, fried mushrooms, loads of butter in it, loads of olive oil, which I put in at the end because I didn't want it to burn, some coconut oil to cook it initially, and that was it. So that was it. And black pepper and sea salt, lots of it. And I didn't even take it out of the pan. I put it under the grill, and I was so hungry. Well, I love that food anyway. I was so hungry that I didn't even let the cheese melt properly, and I was scoffing it out of the pan. So I had a little TikTok of it. So my blood sugar after that meal, which is very satisfying. A lot of the time I put eggs into it, but I didn't really feel like eggs yesterday, so I just had it like that. And the cheese, I put lots of cheese because that's great for protein and fat. So cheese is protein and fat, almost no carbs. Broccoli is a carb, but there's almost no carbs in it because there's so much fiber. Broccoli is incredible for your intestines, for your lower gut microbiome. Your gut bugs will be so happy. Broccoli is actually kind of my favorite. Garlic, amazing. I don't cook it too much. The onions, the mushrooms, oh my God. And these are cheap foods. I mean, I'd say that plate probably cost me like €1. It was maybe €1.50 because of the amount of cheese I put in. Yeah, actually, I think I put in half a block of cheese. So anyway, but that kind of meal is really good for your blood sugar. Your blood sugar maintains its stability. It might rise a tiny bit because of the protein. The only thing in that meal that could have raised my insulin was the little bit of carbs but there's so much fiber in the broccoli. It would be hard to tell. I don't wear a CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor. That would be really helpful at that moment to see. I didn't feel a blood spike of sugar, so I would say that it rose a little bit. Of course, every time you eat, you're probably going to get some kind of rise in your blood sugar, but my blood sugar was nice and steady. But if I had put carbs with that, if I put some rice or I put a slice of bread, I would see my blood sugar go up and my insulin is released and it's getting kind of exhausted if I'm doing it constantly. But every now and again, I will have some bread with it or some well, I don't eat rice that much, but maybe pasta, rice, potatoes, whatever. I might have something else with it now and again. And I'll expect that my blood sugar, you'll feel it. If you get used to it, you'll feel it after a while. Your blood sugar level will rise. The thing is that we're addicted to that because we're used to eating carbs all day long. I myself was addicted to that. It's okay. It's not your fault. We are designed to eat sugar. We are designed to eat it when we meet it so that we can survive. But we don't need to eat it when we meet it all the time now because we meet it all the time. So further insulin resistance is your pancreas is getting knackered. You may not have type 2 diabetes yet, but you might be pre-diabetic or you might be pre-diabetic where your blood sugar is maintaining a level of highness all the time. You can get fasting insulin tests done and stuff like that to find out. I actually had one done years ago. Well, I didn't actually realize I had put on a lot of weight with one of my pregnancies and they did a fasting insulin and I actually passed. But when I look back now, I don't have the results. But when I look back, they say that the level is too high because it's on the mean, it's on the medium. The mean is the average of the population. So they reckon that the average of the population is probably a little bit too high anyway, close to being pre-diabetic or diabetic, that our actual average is actually too high. So maybe I was at the average and they said it was perfectly fine. I was kind of fat. But anyway, but I passed the test and it takes a couple of hours. You have to drink some Lucozade or what I had Lucozade. I think they do whatever sugar you drink and you have to do it over a couple of hours. And then I don't know if they took my blood or I can't remember what happened. But anyway, something happened and I passed the test. But like I said, I could have been at the average or a little bit above. And the average is too high for the population. Anyway, that's a different story. So you want to keep your blood sugar nice and stable. So, but first to get out of the insulin resistant, and I had to do that with everybody in this house. It wasn't just me. I didn't even really understand what I was doing at the beginning. And I was like, what's all this talk about insulin resistance? So intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet is the only way you will get out because the ketogenic diet is low carb. That's all it is. Listen, lads, it's not complicated. It's not weird. It's not odd. I saw today that Eddie Abu has been taken down online by someone, some old heavy one from the Daily Mail who wrote an article giving out about him. He's an NHS trained nurse. He has every right to say that a low carb diet is good. He finds it amazing himself. He's helped so many people get out of type 2 diabetes. He's changing a generation, particularly in the UK, of young people who have been trapped in glucose spikes and feeling like shit and feeling like depressed. He's into bodybuilding himself, but that's not what he's doing. What he's doing is telling people to eat plain food. A lot of people say he's keto, whatever. He does not say, he just said eat real food. I totally agree with him. I think that Daily Mail article should be taken down. And that woman was overweight anyway. So anyway, so the ketogenic diet is, it's very simple. It's simple, plain food. Simple eggs, bacon, beef. You can eat lamb mince, you can eat turkey mince, all that. I tend to stick to the same things. I tend to be one of these people that I can't deal with a lot of complication. It has to be very simple. And vegetables, I stick to the cruciferous vegetables as much as possible. I don't hardly buy a carrot. I do put carrots, a little chopped up small, into the beef mince just to give a little kick of carbs. Because I'm not against carbs. Now and again for everybody, and it makes it more enticing. But I put celery. I do have celery because it's very fibrous. Mushrooms, onions, ginger. Chopped ginger is amazing, and all of this kind of stuff. So it's plain. All it is plain food. It's literally taking the rice. I do let them have rice here in the evenings, or let them. It's like a torture chamber. They have rice, if they want. But eventually, I don't eat the rice with mine. I have a big, you can eat so much food. You'll never be hungry. I ate yesterday at probably 4 o'clock and I have not eaten. I'm drinking coffee with double cream. I haven't eaten. I'm not hungry. I'm very happy. I feel amazing. But it's not complicated. It's real food. That's all it is. And that's what Eddie Abu is talking about as well. You see him on TikTok and Instagram. He's an amazing guy. I love him. He's amazing. And the thing is, all he's talking about is eat eggs, eat beef liver and stuff. People, you should eat those things. I would not be able to for that. I stick to beef mince. At the beginning, I used to buy a lot of steak, but it's very expensive to continue with that. So I buy steak mince, and I might buy chicken thighs. I do actually like chicken as well, but it takes a bit more preparation with the beef mince. You can just chuck it in the pan. And a lot of time for my own meals, I literally eat it out of the pan. That's what I do. I don't stand on ceremony. We have 5 big plates in this house. And there are 6 people in this house. I don't stand on ceremony because food is, I love food, but I mean, don't get too wound up about it. I see people making these very complicated dishes, lovely, but I save that for when I go to a restaurant, which I love doing. And if I go to the restaurant, I'll ask for the chips, I'll have whatever is on offer. Like soon I'll be going to Man Fridays in Kinsale, which is my favorite restaurant on the planet. Well, I love Corbett Court as well in Mitchelstown. Fantastic restaurant. They give you such amazing food, always fresh. But Man Fridays in Kinsale, they have the most beautiful garlic potatoes and brown bread that you will ever eat. So I'll have it all. Give it to me all. But the thing is that I'm insulin sensitive now. So my cells are reacting well to my insulin. So when insulin is released, which I don't torture my body by having it release insulin all the time, by eating chips at night, or by eating a few biscuits before bedtime. That tortures your body. That it has to release insulin again. So you're spiking your blood glucose, and then it has to release insulin again. So your pancreas has to work. Give your pancreas a break. Give your pancreas a break. Also, you clean out your liver fat. Most of us are going around, there's about 85% of the population they reckon have elevated liver fat, which was never seen before. So if you have liver fat over time and it's bad, you could get cirrhosis of the liver, which most people won't actually get. However, that damage to the liver, that liver fat spills out into your internal area, and that is called visceral fat. And that visceral fat is dangerous. You need a little bit of visceral fat because, of course, you want to protect your organs. If you have a fall, you want a little bit of fat on your body. Don't be afraid of the little bit of fat in your body. And you can bounce up off the ground again. I still got a good bit of that. And even on the ketogenic diet, well, I was not strict over Christmas, but even on the ketogenic diet, I'm carrying a little bit of fat. That's good for you. This is subcutaneous fat, the fat on the outside. The stuff on the inside is called visceral fat. There's 3 types of fat. And then you've got the liver fat. So I have done a few water fasts and stuff to clean out the liver fat. So when you are losing weight, and why you don't see the weight loss at the beginning is that the first fat to go is the liver fat because it's the most dangerous. It's the one that can damage you the most. And of course, you're getting your pancreas will be knackered from releasing insulin. So go on the ketogenic diet for 3 days and you will make the switch from insulin resistance to insulin sensitivity. This is where you want to go, insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity is where you've given your body a break from releasing insulin. And now the cells are getting a rest and they're able to go, oh God, thank God, thank God. So I would continue that break. That because it's so hard to make the break, because I said you're going to have keto flu, what's called keto flu. You're going to feel like shit for at least one of those days. You might have a bit of diarrhea and you'll also have the come down. You'll be coming down from the high because you've had glucose at this level for years. And the next thing, you're taking a break and you're eating eggs. I would eat, like, I know some people will be vegan. Find the vegan alternative with protein and fat. You're replacing it with protein and fat, and I put fiber in as well. That's the difference between carnivore but if all you can do is eggs, get out your packet of eggs, buy the big huge one. It's $3.75 or whatever in the supermarket. They say you should have the organic eggs, but they're very expensive at the moment with the cost of living. So I actually have gone back and bought the barn eggs myself. Buy those eggs, boil them up or fry them, whatever you like, and eat those for the weekend. Buy a packet of rocket salad, because I'm even sometimes so lazy that I won't chop the broccoli. I buy the packets of broccoli, the frozen ones. They're perfectly good. So Get your bag of rocket salad, eat it out of the bag. This is how I started. Now, well, actually, I used to make up nice plates. Now I eat it out of the bag, but I used to make up nice plates. Get whatever you can that has fiber in it, and it's vegetable that is a non-root vegetable. So no carrots, no parsnips, no potatoes. And then you're going to have that, and you're going to have your eggs and bacon or whatever. If you want to do beef, I think eggs are kind of a good start. Lots of get some cheese, get some brie, get some. You'll think you won't like it. I promise you, you will never go back to your old diet. So eat as much as you want. Eat as much as you want for the weekend. You will feel like shit because you're on the come down from the glucose. You're on the come down from that glucose that you've been on for years. It's the first time in 10, 15, 20 years you've given your liver a break and your pancreas. I'm telling you, I have said this in every video practically, that my organs sing to me in the morning. It's like an orchestra and a choir singing to me in the mornings. I cannot tell you how amazing I feel. Brain and body, in every way. I never ever thought I could feel this good. And even last year when I was on keto for a couple of months, I thought I felt top of the world. I even could get higher. It's just unbelievable. The feeling is I feel like every organ in my body, every vein, every capillary, everything, artery is cleaned out and saying, oh, thank you so much for what you have done for us. Because we were chugging along on our last legs for the whatever time. And I'm telling you, any cells in my body were chugging along at the last. Believe me. So I know what I'm talking about. And the effect on people around you will be incredible. You will reach a point of confidence that you never thought you could have. You will reach a point of loving yourself that you never thought you'd have. You will reach a point of influence in the world that you never thought you had. You will really know your place in the world. You will never again fall into the muddy hole that you were once in. And all the slurry and the slurp and the shit that was inside in your body will start evacuating. And I would say continue it. If you've done the hard work of the 3-day switch, if you've done the hard work, give it another few days. Even if you're not doing the intermittent fasting, which I would advise you not to do initially. Well, maybe do the 12 hours, you know, like say eat your last meal at 6 and eat your next meal at 6 a.m., whatever, but and start stretching that out. If you're continuing on above the 3 days, start stretching that out to 12 hours, 14 hours, 15. Do it little by little though. That's the one you have to do little by little. That one's too hard. I kind of do 16.8. Now I kind of do 18.4. It depends. Or 18.6. Sorry about the all maths there. But and stretch it out a bit. You'll get a balance. You'll start to trust yourself. The big problem is people don't trust themselves. They don't trust themselves. And this is what I was talking about in another video, which I'll put in the description below, about the social element, is that we are often knocked off our perch by other people who don't mean well. They don't know maybe, but they don't mean well. They want you off your perch because they don't want you to be slimmer than them. All people see is the slim part. They don't really see that what's really happening is the good thing on the inside. And you can't really explain that to people because they're like, whatever. You know, they don't really care about the insides of your veins, do they? But you will feel, I mean, you'll be able to handle, if you're in a shitty work situation, it will suddenly become okay. Because you will be living inside this perfect machine, this perfect body, this perfect brain, and you'll be able to handle that stress because it's not part of you. It's not what's wrong with you. The reason you can't handle stress right now is the slurry in your brain. The slurry in your brain, the slurry in your arteries, the slurry in your bile duct, the slurry in your gallbladder that you haven't cleaned out in 15 years, in 10 years, in 5 years, in longer. Imagine the slurry, the shit that's in there that can't get out. All of that is cleared now for me. All of that, I can feel it. I can feel it. All of that is cleared for me. So you need to clean out that rubbish. Even if you're skinny, you're on a nice healthy diet, getting up in the morning, eating your porridge and chia seed pudding with a couple of berries on top, a little bit of banana maybe. That is as bad for you as eating a packet of Oreos in the morning, because the body cannot tell. Now there's a little bit more fiber, of course, that's a little bit better, but the body cannot tell that that is not the same thing as a packet of Oreos. It can't tell. And that was one of the kind of biggest shocking things for me, is that I thought, oh, the body can tell. The body can't tell if you're eating a banana or a bag of sugar. The body can't tell. The problem with the banana is there's a lot more fructose, and fructose can only be processed by the liver. And where's the fat going to stay? That's, oh, listen, I have to tell you this big secret. The fat you eat does not turn into the fat in your body. It is the carbohydrates. The fat that you're carrying all over your big slobby body, even your skinny slobby body, the fat on the inside that you can't see, that's killing you or is killing your mitochondria and going to give you cancer in a few years. Like, some of the skinny people are getting cancer at an alarming rate. Why? Because they've damaged their mitochondria from incessant carb intake, which they think are healthy carbs, because it's an apple, it's a piece of, it's yogurt, oh, don't eat low fat. So it's not the fat you're eating which is the problem. I'm eating more fat than I ever have. The sheep finding fat on her face. I'm eating more fat than ever. It's the carbs. It's the carbs you're eating are putting the fat on your body. It's the carbs you're eating. Of course, then down the line from that, then it's the protein. So if there's excessive amounts of protein, you should be eating more protein as you get older. But if there's excessive amounts of protein, that will eventually be turned into glucose and turned into fat if there's too much of it. It's going to be hard to eat too much protein, believe me. And then the other one is fat. Eventually, if you eat too much fat, you'll get diarrhea probably. It's probably the only bad thing that'll happen. And maybe eventually that will be processed in some way. The body's very clever, but the first one is the carbs. Carbs are processed immediately, and there's an insulin spike. And you'll know this yourself when you start getting cute and you start realizing. Anybody that wants to, you should buy a CGM. I'm hoping to get one, but I haven't got one yet. I'm kind of mentally psyching myself up for it. I do keto sticks. I'm not in ketosis all the time. Like keto, when I do a fast, I have another little short there. I do keto sticks. You pee on them and they'll tell you if you're in ketosis, which is basically if you're burning your own fat. So ketosis is burning your own fat. The reason I like to go into ketosis, and I usually do a fast for more than 3 days, my big thing is the autophagy, a thing called autophagy. Autophagy is where it's basically your country clean. It's your cell clean out. Autophagy will take your old broken cells, and this is as a cancer prevention for me, mainly, and also as a dementia and Parkinson's. That doesn't bother me as much because I think my veins are clean and I don't have the plaquing. But at the same time, as a prevention to all chronic illness and cancer and dementia and Parkinson's and all the rest of those ones, I do prolonged fasting, which is more than 3 days. And the reason I do that is for autophagy. Then the 2016 medical science Nobel Prize went to I think he was a Japanese doctor who discovered stuff about autophagy and its importance in our body. The human body is designed to go into, I wouldn't call it starvation, but basically not eat for more than 24 hours every now and again, which would have been the norm. But we don't know. We're kind of like, oh, God, 24-hour fast. And what happens then is after 16, 18, more, it really would be 24 hours, 36 hours, you go into autophagy. Autophagy is the cell clean out. So every broken cell is recycled. Why don't these people recycle themselves? You are recycling. Autophagy means eating yourself. You are recycling your old cells, the old mitochondria, the broken cells, the ones that it's already been shown by Dr. Thomas Seyfried that those cells are the ones that will be picked up to become cancerous and then ferment into a tumor. So you want to get rid of those cells on a regular basis. So I do a fast once a year. Actually, recently I've done them twice. So it's not that it's addictive, but every so often I kind of get a notion and I say, I'll do a fast, a prolonged fast. And always the first day is hard. No matter what, get over the first day. And like the thing is, you have to get over the first day to get into the autophagy. So the first day is always hard for some reason. I think it's the blood sugar is definitely dropping, but what happens then is your blood sugar regulates because your body is using its own fat. So, but it takes a little bit of time for that switch to happen. So the body has now gotten used to glucose from what you ingest, which is the food. And then the next thing you're telling it, no, I want you to use the fat cells again. And there is just that little switch over, which takes about 24 hours. So you will be a little bit, stay out of the kitchen. That's the only reason I go walking. So anyway, so you into autophagy, it's going to clean out your old cells, recycle them and eat them and use them as fuel. It turns them into glucose, amino acids, and then into glucose. So look after your health. Follow Eddie Abu. Follow people who are telling you to eat real food. Don't listen to these nut jobs. I wouldn't go to half the nutritionists that I've heard of. I mean, I'm qualified as a ketogenic nutritionist. And it involves, basically just eating ordinary food, nothing else. But what you'll go to a nutritionist and they'll say, oh, have meat in your sandwich. No, I'm telling you, make yourself an omelette. Get out a packet of cheese. Eat the whole block. I mean, my young fella, he eats a block of cheese at night when he's hungry. He has perfect bloods. So I have perfect bloods and I eat all stuff. If you saw me eating, you'd be like, oh, Jesus, won't that give you a heart attack? It's the opposite. It's the carbohydrates that are causing the problem for your cardiovascular risk. I have no cardiovascular risk. I have a thing on my blood test, my perfect blood test, I'll put them in. I have no cardiovascular risk. My A1C is perfect. And that's on a carb-free diet. That's all. So anyway, I'll talk to you soon. I want you to start listening to yourself and to rise above the social norms. And I'm listening to that crackpot, they're on my ketogenic diet. Listen to yourself for a change. As I always say, put on your own mask first. Bye, see you soon. Eat well.